Hello everyone and welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith and this is part 5 of the Black Barrow scenario from Gloomhaven, the campaign we are ripping through. We've managed to crack the door and the Mind Thief has actually bravely entered into the next room with a swarm of rats behind him. We just finished his turn at the start of the round and we still have the guards to go through, the Bandit Archer and the Scoundrel. Now in the other room, when we cracked this door, we found ourselves with 2 guards right in front of our face almost right away. Just regular ones though, but still an annoyance nonetheless. We got ourselves 2 traps kind of blocking up the door there that would do some damage to us if we were to walk into them. So we're going to want to disarm those. There's a skull pile there on the right, which is not a gameplay item. It's just there for looks, as well as some candlelight in the back, some trunks and stuff like that, and in the very, very back, a chest. None of these are openable or usable in the game. When I do place chests that are openable, they'll be brown. The white ones are not. So, again, we got a Bandit Archer here sitting in the back. It's elite too, so it's going to be probably doing some serious damage from distance. So we're going to go ahead and pick it up right from where we left off in the last video, and that is with the guards. Now the guards were initiative 15. The Mind Thief had already gone in the previous video at 11, right? So we do 11, we covered the summoned rats, they went in the last video. Mind Thief went, that covers the initiative 11. We're moving over to the guards. The guards beef up at this point in time, so they now have an extra shield from this point on until the end of the round, which is kind of a pain. They also are going to attack us, but they don't have ranged, as you can see from their character card here, regardless of what they are, and they are just regular units. So to the left here, there is no range component. So without a range component, they actually attack nothing. They can't do it, which is great because they would have poisoned us. So that's dismissed. Then we're going to move to the Bandit Archer. The Bandit Archer came up with a 29 for its initiative. It is next in the order. Now the Bandit Archer is an elite character. He is sitting far, far, far back in the dungeon back there. But he is a ranged character, so he's a range of 5. So from where he's sitting right now, he would be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming up way short of the Mind Thief. So he's going to go ahead and use his move, because that's exactly the keyword there, in order to get closer. And his movement actually states that he gets a 3 for movement. So he's going to move too close. He only moves as close as he needs to be within range. He's not the type of character to get up close and fight. He doesn't want hand-to-hand combat and be right in the Mind Thief's face, even if he could get there, which he can't right now, because that would disadvantage his attack. He is a ranged character and always prefers to stay far back and take pot shots at us. We're going to have to do our work to get up close to him, maybe immobilize him or stun him or do something to keep him in place so that we can kind of take him down. So he's going to move to there. He's now within range of the Mind Thief. This is his focus, and it's based on the focus rules. So how the combat works in general is there's always a focus for an enemy, and this elite is focusing on the Mind Thief as his #1 priority. So now we just move through the card as per normal. We did our movement to get closer to that Mind Thief. We do our attack now. The attack's going to be at a -1. It does mention that you get a +1 on range, which sounds like it would open the door to allowing him to shoot the summoned creatures in the back. But you have to remember, based on the rule book and where they've planted the focus rule, focusing occurs at the very, very beginning, and it's based on which is the very closest enemy to the Archer, and the closest is the Mind Thief. The only reason the +1 range would even give an advantage would be if, say, for instance, there was no Mind Thief here, or the Archer moved his movement and was back here and was still too far away to shoot. The extra +1 range might give him enough to stretch for somebody who wasn't in focus before. So that's not going to apply here, but the Immobilize is definitely going to apply when he takes this shot. So he's going to be pinning the Mind Thief's foot to right in the doorway, which is actually really bad for us because it stops any of our characters in other rounds from getting past him. So it's going to kind of clog everything up a little bit. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to attack. Now his attack when he takes a shot is 3. So he's going to take that 3 shot, but it is a -1 on the attack, so it's only a 2. The Mind Thief is not poisoned, so there's no damage that way. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull a monster modifier card to see what happens to this shot. -1, that's what we like to see. So only 1 damage is going to come through to the Mind Thief. And at this point in time, I think we're going to probably just take that damage because, it just doesn't make any sense otherwise not to. So let's go ahead and drop him down to 5 on the track. We'll take that damage, no problem. It's fairly minor. And that's pretty much it for the archer, because there is only one archer on the table, okay? So then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the rest of the card. It says Immobilize Soul. This is where things get a little bit kind of painful. We actually have to put a token on the Mind Thief to stay in the next. He will not be able to move until the end of his next turn. So it's going to pin him to the ground, and on the next turn, he cannot move from that position. So that's too bad. It's going to really mess things up a little bit. So now we're done all the enemy turns. Now we can move back to the Scoundrel. Now this is where things get kind of weird. The Scoundrel was going to come out of his invisibility from the prior turn at the end of this one. So he's going to do some things while he's kind of hidden, but then he's going to pop back in right at the end of his turn. Now the weird thing about this is I'd hoped that I was going to be able to use this, which sat in our active area. I dropped a smoke bomb, which made me invisible in the first place, and it said on your next attack while invisible, double the value. Well, we don't have the ability to get through the door anymore because the Mind Thief's there, blocking everything. We can't even use our throwing knives because they're a range of 3, and we can't even get close enough to throw them at the guards in the other room. The one thing we could do, well, actually, now that I think about it, we could do a move 3. Now, this is where things get weird. We could do this and this, or this and this. And what I'm thinking is, like, if we stayed put, we could loot 2, which would allow him to grab 2 coins. And it's not, when it says loot 2, it means how many squares away he can loot. So he can loot squares up to 2 tiles away. So the only ones that are in range of 2 tiles away, or 2 squares away, or that shape, is just this one and this one. So he'd only get these 2 coins, which is not bad. And then he could heal himself for 3, which we do need to heal him at some point, because he is like going to run into this stuff later, and it's going to cause him to take some serious damage. So maybe that is the smart move right now. But the other side of it is we could move and throw some throwing knives, but they're fairly weak. And you also have to remember that these guys have shields right now, so maybe it's not a worthwhile thing. So let's do this. Let's do the movement, and let's do the looting and the heal, I think, is going to be our best. So we're going to go ahead. Now, if we loot this, we got to remember we lose this card. So there's that as well. There's other fun side to this scenario. We could end up losing this card completely, and we've already lost some cards with him. He's already a little low, so maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't be too greedy yet. Let's just use it for movement and get ourselves on top of maybe a coin instead of looting a coin. Ugh, this is tough. Well, regardless, we know we want to heal, so let's use a special mixture and heal ourselves for 3. Now, the fun thing with this is that when you heal yourself, actually it's terrible. When you heal yourself for 3, but when you're poisoned, you actually the healing takes away the poison ability off the character. But the one thing that I want to double check on is it says if a heal ability is used on a poison figure, the poison token is removed and the heal has no other effect. So when I was saying earlier that we were going to get 3 back, we don't. We don't get that 3 back. We just get this stupid poison marker off of us, which is terrible because like that's not even that great of a heal. It's almost I don't even know if it's worth it. Oh, this is all bad. This is all terrible. I don't like this. But you know what? I think this is the right thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heal. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this card. I'm using the very top. This poison marker is removed. The Scoundrel is healed. Now we've used the top of that card. We have to use the bottom of this card. We can use the loot, and it's a lost card. We lose it forever. We get those 2 coins though, which is nice. Or we just use it for a move. We get the card back and we can just move on top of a coin and take it. So I'm thinking let's do that instead of getting greedy and getting that extra coin. Let's just move 1 closer to the door, and now we can move 2 at the most. So we could go 1, 2, but then you're not getting a coin. So let's just move here, and then that's it. So it's the end of his turn. So 2 things are going to happen. One is he gets to, whenever you end your turn on one of the coins, or on a coin, it's called end of turn looting. So you do get it. So so I can go ahead and capture that coin with the Scoundrel. The other thing that's going to happen is it is the end of his turn. His invisibility is now gone, so he returns to the battlefield after throwing his smoke down to hide. And then on top of that, this card here called Smoke Bomb, which was in play while you're invisible, you can see there, if I had been able to use it to double the value of my attack, I would have been able to get 2 experience out of it. But because I wasn't able to do so, the card is now lost. It just moves to the lost pile. Now, if you guys want, this is how I'm reading it, because when we originally played this card, it says on your next attack while invisible, double the value. And it's a persistent bonus, so it sits there forever. I guess my question is, would this, and this might be something I have to look up, it looks to me like it's a persistent bonus, so it sticks around, round, around, but once you're no longer invisible, then I just don't know how you'd be able to play this card anymore and double your attack unless you could go invisible again later. So from what I'm understanding, this is lost, and that's the way that's played. It seems kind of silly. Maybe I'm missing something on that. So maybe in the feedback, if you guys want to give me a heads up on how you would envision that to play out. I'm thinking that because I used this to go invisible, it was persistent for the round, but now I'm no longer invisible, then it automatically moves to this. The other way of looking at this is that if it's a persistent, I get this 2 XP and then it's lost. It's very tough. It's a very hard card to read. So I'm not going to throw this out yet. I'm going to leave this up. I'm also going to check the rules after this video myself to see how this card should be read and should be played, because I don't want to do it wrong. But just know that I'm thinking about it. And so for now, I'm going to leave it up top here. But knowing full well at some point I need to, and in between this video and the next, I'm going to look into this as to whether or not this actually gets lost, because I've now come out of invisibility, and the smoke bomb, technically, if you were thinking about it as a smoke bomb, has already cleared now, because that's why you can see me. I threw the smoke bomb down, it kept me and recover, then I'm back up when the invisibility wears off, so that card shouldn't be there. It's not an active thing anymore, but maybe I'm wrong, but let's just double check it to be sure. So anyway, that's essentially the whole round. So now we're done, the round. The things that you do at the end of the round is you can do something like called a quick rest. So we can do a short rest, and we can lose 1 random card and recover the rest. I don't really know if that's a wise decision or not. We do still have 2 cards in hand over here and 2 cards in hand over here. So both of us can have 1 more turn, but after that we're going to be forced to rest. So it kind of gets a little dicey, because I don't know how much damage we're actually going to be able to do in terms of killing anyone. So maybe a short rest makes sense in this case. It's very, very tough to call. With this particular scoundrel, we've got 4 cards in the discard pile, and with the Mind Thief, I think we have quite a bit more. 3, 4, 5, we have 6. So I'm kind of wondering whether it makes sense. We are far away from people, so that's good, keeping the distance away. But you know what? This might be the time to rest, because with this guy pinned in the doorway, it's kind of. I'm thinking on the next turn, these guys might need to rest. That might be the best strategy, being that this guy can't even move anyway, and based on his cards in his hand, he has nothing that can shoot ranged at all. So he's not going to do anything. His rats won't be able to do anything. So I think on the next turn, the best case scenario is for these 2 guys to sit still and just rest, but a long rest. It might be dangerous because it'll get all these guys over towards them, which is kind of bad, because it would put the Mind Thief right in the center, and he'd need to back away to try to get stuff. We might get a little clogged in the doorway, but we are running out of cards, and we do need to rethink the strategy here a little bit. So this is going to end this video. It's a little bit quicker because it was more so the end of the previous turn. Again, please fire your feedback about the smoke bomb one, because it's the only one I'm a little bit confused about as to how I should play that. I'm going to look up this symbol. I know it's called a persistent card or ability or active card kind of thing. I just don't know how to read this as to when it actually becomes lost. It seems like it's after you get the 2 XP, but yet logically with the smoke bomb and the invisibility, it just doesn't make sense. If I didn't actually attack somebody, I don't know if I should actually get 2 XP. I think that I would get that if I actually did it. or maybe this hovers around and is constantly smoky forever. I don't know. So I'm going to look into that. I will throw up my comments right after the video is posted as to what I found. You guys can also post what you found, and we'll kind of go back and forth as to what the next best step is. So if you enjoy what you've been seeing, you'll see on the screen that my logo there for Rolling Solo is up. So go ahead, click on that. That'll help you to subscribe to future videos, and keep on throwing feedback at me. I really enjoy it, and we're learning as we go. I do have a lot of the rules down in my head already, but it's easier to make mistakes when you're filming it and trying to play two-handed at the same time. You'd be surprised how much effort it is to talk through a game while actually thinking through a game while recording a game. It's a lot to do, and this game already has a lot to it. So it adds a lot of craziness. So just to finish out the round, we know that we didn't have any elemental strength to worry about. The optional short rest, we're going to choose not to do it. And then we're going to shuffle all of these back. So in between this video, I'm going to shuffle this pile. I'm going to be shuffling the guard pile, and I'm going to be shuffling the archer pile, all of which have this rotational shuffle symbol on it. So not going to do it on camera, but again, the subscribe button's on the video, and please throw your feedback in. And until the next time, keep rolling solo, guys.